Yes, we're in
Okay,
order.
here we go for the third meeting.
Charm.
How many times I gotta read this?
Oh, I thought we were doing,
Don't jump the shark. The following is the agenda for the regular meeting of the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Pompton Lakes, Passaic County, to be held in the Pompton Lakes Municipal Building, 25 Lenox Avenue, Pompton Lakes, New Jersey, Wednesday, November 11th, beginning at 7:30. Can we have a flag salute, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we please remain standing for a moment of silence for our past council president, Rick Steele, and the mayor of Bloomingdale, John Dunleavy. Okay, thank you. In conformance with the Open Public Meeting Law, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, adequate notice of this meeting setting forth the time, date, place, and purpose of this regular meeting through the notice posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, mailed to all, have requested and paid for same, and published in the Suburban Trends. Roll call, please.
Mayor Sir,
Here.
Council President Bennett,
Here.
Councilman Begg,
Here.
Councilman Gilat,
Here.
Councilwoman Kent,
Here.
Councilwoman Polidori,
Here.
Councilwoman Radcliffe. Here. With us this evening is our Borough Attorney David Rutenberg and our Borough Administrator Kevin Boyle.
Okay, thank you. Unfortunately, we could not do our Veterans Day ceremony that we normally do. We usually get a great showing, and our residents do come out and support. So unfortunately, I am going to read a statement about Memorial Veterans Day right now, and because of the COVID, we couldn't have the people in. I will tell you that the Lakeland Marine Corps did do a ceremony today at the memorial down near Lakeside Bridge. I did attend that. It was a nice ceremony, but for safety of the residents, we're asking you not right at this time to join any large groups. Veterans Day is intended to honor and thank all military personnel, men and women, who served the United States in all wars and officially observed on November 11th. On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918, a treaty between Germany and the Allied nations came into effect. On November 11th, 1919, Amnesty Day was commemorated for the first time. In 1919, President Wilson proclaimed the day should be filled with solemn pride in the heroism of those who died in the country and with all the gratitude of their victory. In 1926, the United States Congress officially recognized the end of World War I and declared the anniversary of the day should be commensurated as a day of Thanksgiving. Congress also requested that the President issue a proclamation to call upon officials to display the flag of the United States on all government buildings on November 11th and to invite the people of the United States to observe the day in schools and other suitable places. Following World War II, the name of the holiday was changed to Veterans Day to honor those who died in All-American War. These days have evolved to primarily be a time of honoring living veterans who have served in the military during wartime and peace. I'd like to remind our veterans the state of New Jersey provides several veteran benefits, offers assistance for those in need, some of those things being housing, financial assistance, employment, and education. Some other free schedules include volunteer lawyers, military veterans, Passaic County identification cards, and discount programs. This year has been a challenging year. The COVID-19 pandemic has prevented large gatherings, and we all know from past veterans services that it's standing room only. Normally, our military, first responders, local scouts groups, and residents attend the services, and although this year we are celebrating differently, the spirit of our community remains the same. I, along with the council members and our community, are honored to pay tribute this evening to all those who have served in our country, and we thank you for all your services you did. It's an unfortunate time right now. We will all get through this, but we want to remember our veterans always. They're very important to our future and to our past. So thank you for that. I also have a proclamation to read in behalf of a resident who has turned 100 years old. Whereas Margaret Lockwood, the fourth child born to Edward and Agnes on November 10th, 1920, celebrated her 100th birthday. Whereas Margaret married Kenneth in 1941 and lived in Pompton Lakes. Kenneth and Margaret had 4 children: Kenneth, Margaret, Elaine, and Patrick. Margaret Lockwood was blessed with 17 grandchildren and 25 great-grandchildren. Margaret Lockwood is a longtime resident who continues to reside at 119 Willard Street and calls Pompton Lakes her home. Was an active member in the American Legion as well as St. Mary's Seniors. Now, therefore, I, Michael Serra, Mayor of the Borough of Pompton Lakes, do hereby congratulate Margaret Lockwood on her 100th birthday. We wish you continued health and happiness. I do hereby declare November 10th, 2020 as Margaret Lockwood Day in the Borough of Pompton Lakes. Always a big accomplishment to reach 100. We're all hoping we get there, I'm sure, so congratulations to her on that. Unfortunately, I do have some reports to report here under my report. I will start with my COVID report, which was put out today. I am sorry to report we had a large increase of COVID cases in the past week in Pompton Lakes. As of Wednesday, November 11th, which is today, we had 20 new cases of the virus in Pompton in the last week. This is more than a 2-week total. This brings our total to approximately 323 reported cases. Unfortunately, we have a new 2-month-old reported with the virus. Thank you to all our residents for continuing to wear masks and social distance. We must keep up these practices as the CDC warns of a potential increase of the COVID cases in the coming winter months. New Jersey and Passaic County are beginning to see a rise in cases. Please remember that the flu season has also begun. We continue to mourn the loss of the 9 residents who passed. We also mourn the loss of past Council President Rick Steele and Mayor John Dunleavy of Bloomingdale. Gyms, martial arts studios, inside sports, and indoor dining are open at 25%. Inside dining must close at 10 p.m. starting tomorrow, with outside dining staying open. Sitting at a bar as of tomorrow will not be allowed and be prohibited in all establishments. Interstate travel for sports has now been stopped. Indoor gatherings made at 25%, capacity up to 150, the lesser of 2. Unfortunately, most town events through the Recreation Department have been canceled for the rest of the year. The holiday stroll has been canceled. So that is my report for, unfortunately, Passaic County right now is in the top 2 counties in the state of New Jersey with the number of COVID cases. We kind of knew that was going to happen, but we have to be very diligent at this point. The cases are rising. For us to have 20 cases in 1 week is a large number. So let's all do the right thing and just wear a mask whenever in public. Speaking of Council President Rick Steele, who was a longtime member of the council here, probably around 9 years. He did a lot of great work. He spent a lot of time. He had a financial background. He put a lot of time and energy into our budgets. He will be greatly missed in town. As I said in my notes that I've posted about him, if he wasn't here working in town or he wasn't in work, he was on one of the ball fields with his 3 boys, taking care of what needed to be done with them, from basketball to baseball to pole vaulting. He was very involved in town, and he's going to be sorely missed here in town, and it was an unexpected death, and I'm sure I'm passing all my condolences to the family. There will be a ceremony for him tomorrow at 1:30 at St. Mary's. Also, unfortunately, the mayor of Bloomingdale passed away unexpected. We did a lot of work with Bloomingdale as a mayor at both towns. We do a lot of shared services with Bloomingdale. I can tell you John was a very welcome site to work with, very easy to get along with, and his residents really did appreciate for what he did. Again, we pass on our condolences to Bloomingdale and to John's family. He will be missed. I'd like to congratulate Maria Kent and Ek Venin on their almost win for the election right now. It is not official, but I've been told that the numbers are far enough that they won't make a difference. The Board of Ed is still in a fight, so I will not announce the winners of the Board of Ed yet until that is official. So everybody understands, even here in Pompton Lakes, they can't count mail-in ballots till today. They can't start counting them till today. We had almost 1,600 mail-in ballots still to have to be counted. So that's why we haven't had official results here, the local results, all the way up to the state. So keep forward, let's to worry about that. More to follow. I do have to make a remark about our police department. There was some remarks made about our police department at our last meeting, and our police department did reach out and explain the situation. A newspaper did an article about violence among police officers, and they rated Pompton Lakes as having numerous cases. It turns out the numerous cases that Pompton Lakes had with all one special needs individual whose parents called very often because they couldn't control their son, and because of that they would have to sit him down, kind of calm him down, and of course touch him and grab him and sit him down. Out of 43 reported cases, 39 of them were with this one family. Since then, this child has been put into a home, and they haven't been called. We haven't had any other cases of this. So the newspaper, not in doing a typical crash story, doesn't list that as something that happened here in Pompton Lakes. They just say we had 42 cases. At the end of the day, the cases were all with one person, and the parents were the ones calling us with him because they couldn't keep control of him. So that's the explanation of why we have those cases. If you need more explanation, you can reach out to the chief. He will gladly explain that to you. This is all documented. We've gone well above documenting any case with resistance on our records, and we've probably gone more than most towns in resisting. Some towns might not report this because it's the same child over and over again. Pompton Lakes does. Okay, with that, I'm going to open the meeting, and I'm sure you guys can make your comments for any comments you would like to make about Councilman Steele in your reports. I'd like to open the meeting for public comments. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved, Riker.
Councilwoman Riker, Councilman, who was that, DeWine? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public like to address? Please step up.
Gita Curtis, 111 Ramapo Avenue. Boy, I just want to, since I was removed last time, so I didn't hear the rest of your comments. So I listened to them on the video when it came up on YouTube, and I just want to say that I wasn't referring to a report from New York City. I was referring to the njforcereport.com. Anybody can look it up. It is from 2016, and you can look up each officer in each town. We are 431 or 51 out of like 463, the worst. So there's that. So I just want to clarify, I wasn't like pulling some crazy report out. That's what you made it sound like. And I resent that you were kind of like mocking me and making me like, where is she getting these numbers? Ooh, hoo, hoo. The other thing is the DuPont report I'm referring to is the corrective measures study, which is when the EPA assesses what DuPont wants to do as far as the cleanup, and then they send back their answer, kind of, which says we accept this part of the cleanup and this part maybe needs to be tweaked a little bit. And you can find that on their site. It's called the corrective measures study. So I'm sure you've seen it, but you made me sound like an ignon, like I was pulling these numbers out of everywhere. And the only reason I referred to New York City was, according to the NYPD, half our officers would be on desk duty. So that's where that reference came from. So I just want to kind of defend myself, because I was kind of attacked and I wasn't in the room, and I do resent that, because I'm a resident. I'm not here to like take you down and, you know, make things, I want to make the town better.
Good.
I'm not here to like, well, you know, I don't feel like that's what's happening here. I don't feel like you're not transparent. I feel like this guy giving this thing, why can't we see what he's got to say? Why does he have the things facing that? Like, it's just all such smoke and mirrors. And the pilot program, okay, so you have just, this is an example, this is not referring to any project. If you have a parking lot, you own it, you get taxed, say $10,000 a year. You build 100 apartments. After the pilot, your annual percentage is equal to that $10,000, even though you have 100 apartments on it. So how is that good for the town? You know, just saying, that's all I have to say. I'd rather I didn't have to come here, but I feel like I do.
Sure,
I feel like
welcome.
I have to keep my eye on you guys, you know? And I feel like we have no history commission, no history museum. Every other town has one. It's like, come on. That's all I'm saying, thank you.
All right, thank you. So now I'll respond to that. So what you're talking about is the same report I am talking about. Of those arrests that you're talking about, they were all one family. If you read the documents, you would see
No,
that.
I'm not referring
Please do not
to
talk
that.
from the audience. This is what happened last time while you were escorted out. The only reason you're escorted out is because I did not speak when you were speaking. Now you can't speak when I'm speaking. That's how it works. So if you break out again, you will be escorted out again. So I don't want to do that. So please let me talk. Okay? The report I just explained was one family. I can bring the chief in, he can explain it to you. Since this family has moved, we have had no more cases of this. Okay, so understand that. When you're talking about the Remedies Act, we are not up to a cleaning solution on DuPont. This is going to go to the public. The public will have a chance to speak when they have a referendum on how it's going to be cleaned. We're not even close to there. This is years away still. They're still in determining if they're even going to follow what DuPont is proposing or what the EPA is proposing. So that's going to take time. There is no talk of capping or digging or moving dirt out. This is just someone saying they think they know what it is. No one knows what that is. It's not been done. And your explanation of a pilot was wrong. The way a pilot works is if the taxes on a property are $10,000 for that property, total taxes, the town's portion is only $2,000. The rest goes to the state, to the county, to the schools. With a pilot, the 95% of the tax dollar stays with the town. So the $10,000 that you used as an example, $9,500 would stay with the town. That's why you do a pilot. We are not the only town doing this. Many, many towns are using pilots to their advantage to do this. So that's where you're mistaken on the pilot. I'm sorry, I did forget. I actually see some people in the back. Are you guys going to come talk about that? Okay, so I'll let you do that. Anyone else from the public like to address? That's a chance if you want to do it. She can come. Yeah, just raise your hand. All I need you to do is give me your name and where you live.
So I'm Elizabeth Fram. My name's Elizabeth Fram. I live at 100 Pearson Miller Drive, Perma Day 3. I am speaking about a kind gesture from the Pompton Lakes Police.
Great.
So on November 8th, the Pompton Lakes Police Department Squad B left a bag on my doorstep with a note. When I opened the bag up, it was filled with toys. Police officers heard about my project of collecting toys to give to the child life specialist at Hackensack Hospital. They would then distribute the toys to children at the hospital, because when you're sick, there's not a lot to do. The police officers bought the toys out of their own pocket and did not expect any reward. You need a lot more people to be like them. Do you want their badge numbers and their names? It's only what they're
Hey, sure, if that's what you want to give, sure.
Probably going to pronounce all these wrong.
I can help you with that.
Patrolman E. Zaku?
Yeah, he has a tough one. That's Edelin. I don't know his last. I even have problems with his last name. Yeah.
193. P.H. Vandersloot?
Vanderstadt, yes.
178.
Patrolman Vanderstadt,
P.H. Burham?
Bergen, yep.
169.
So I'm just gonna, if you don't mind, can I add some to that? So Elizabeth here decided to take on a promotion to help children in the hospitals. And she was looking for toys and candy, and she was gonna collect them all and bring them to the hospital to give to the children. The police saw her post, I think, on social media, and without her knowledge, knocked on her door, and these 3 patrolmen and that patrolman B, or Group B, left her a box of toys and things for the children to bring. You know, they weren't looking for any notoriety, and I thank Elizabeth and her mom for coming forward to bring it. They just wanted to help someone in town because they felt Elizabeth was doing such a nice job from the community to help other children. So they were kind of recognizing you, Elizabeth. That's why they did it. So we thank you for what you were doing. And you know, our police department tries to work with the community as best they can. And you know, this is a good example of that. So I thank you guys for coming to say that.
Elizabeth, thank you. These are very difficult times right now. I'm sure you made a lot of people very happy. So thank you for your kindness.
Anyone else from the public like to address? Seeing no one, can I have a motion to close the public session?
So moved.
Second.
Council President Bennett, Councilman DeLine. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Approval of minutes. Motion to approve the following minutes. Regular meeting minutes of October 28th, 2020.
So moved.
Councilman DeLine. Councilwoman Riker. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Bills and claims. Motion to approve the following bills as listed below.
So moved.
Councilman DeLine. Councilman Begg. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay, consent agenda. Does anybody need anything removed or questions? Seeing none, go ahead, Liz.
Whereas the Mayor and Council of Borough of Compton Lakes have reviewed the consent agenda consisting of various proposed resolutions, and whereas the Mayor and Council of Compton Lakes does not desire to move resolutions for individual action from that agenda, but we did already vote on Resolution 20-2018. So it's Resolution 20-211 through 20-2021.
So if you have the wrong agenda, that one's not in there. That's why you don't see it there. So you might have an older agenda.
But do we still have 219 we're going to do by roll call separately?
219?
Yeah.
Which is that?
Yeah, I'm doing the consent agenda, then I go to the separate.
Okay, so we
Okay.
just want to reserve out of there 219 for a roll call.
And 18.
Yes.
Or 18 we don't have to.
18 we've done already.
All right, so we don't have
Yep.
to do an 19. Okay, so 219 will be pulled for separate action.
Yep.
Okay, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Councilwoman Polidori, Councilman DeLine. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay, resolution for separate action, I guess that would be 20-219.
Yes.
Correct.
Appointment of Analdi Solis to the position of part-time fire inspector with the Compton Lakes Fire Bureau.
Okay, so that is, we're appointing someone to help us with the fire inspection. We're bringing up someone new and younger, is that correct?
Well, what's happening now is that at some point in time, Al Bruno is going to retire, and he's a full-time inspector. The fire department isn't sure we're going to replace him or maybe start with a bunch of part-time people. So this gentleman actually is fully trained. We hired Amanda Daycake a couple of years ago to do part-time. She was doing house inspections, smokes basically. This gentleman can do everything, commercial, smokes, the whole thing. So again, it's hourly based upon how much time you put in. So in terms of budget situation, it's not really an issue. But bottom line is that we're not quite sure where we're going when Al retires. We want to start having a staff if in case we go to a full part-time staff and not having a person here on a regular basis every day.
Okay, any questions or concerns?
No, Ray Solis is a good choice.
What's that?
I said Ray Solis is a good choice.
Good. Okay, can I have a roll call, please?
Did someone make a motion?
I'm sorry, I need a motion.
Yep.
I'll make a motion.
Councilman DeLine,
Second.
Council President Bennett, roll call, please.
Okay. Councilman Bay?
Yes.
Councilman DeLine?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kent?
Yes.
Councilwoman Polidori?
Yes.
Councilwoman Riker? Yes. Councilman Bennett?
Yes.
Wow, no first and no second readings. Very rare, very rare. Okay, under my report real quick, because I did a lot of talking in the beginning. We did hire a new police officer today. Congratulations to Major Bianco for accepting the position here. He is a homegrown person, went to high school here, was working for the Sheriff's Department, and already has been trained to be a police officer. So lucky for us, we can actually get him out on the road in the next couple weeks. So congratulations to him. I've had numerous meetings in the last 2 weeks and special meetings that a lot of people here have been privy to about redevelopment and planning board. I thank everyone who is involved with those for taking those special meetings. I know sometimes they can be a little challenging to try to squeeze in, but the problem, the way, we all thought we'd be on a conference next week, and that's why the schedule is the way it is, and having one meeting this month and one meeting next month because of Christmas. So trying to get some things done by the end of the year can sometimes be a little difficult. So we're going to try our best to get these things done. We did have a very good presentation today about the planned redevelopment for downtown. I think it's an exciting opportunity. I think the idea of bringing in established restaurants and a gym and people to shop downtown it's a great concept for us. It'll only add to our downtown, and it'll make our downtown grow. At the end of the day, we have to keep revitalizing and thinking of ways to bring our downtown back. The bid is the Business Improvement District. is spending a lot of time and energy to try to sell what we have in downtown, and they're doing a great job. But unfortunately, downtowns in this point, in this juncture, a lot of people are shopping in the big box stores on the highways, and they're kind of bypassing your local stores. And I was just talking with the attorney, you know, how easy is it to go to our hardware store locally here in town with a special little nut that you don't know what it is, just hand it to him. He goes into some secret back room, finds the nut, and brings it to you, and it's all set. You go to Home Depot, you're going to have a guy tell you, I don't know how to do this, I don't know where this is. So, you know, you lose those kind of businesses and those kinds of establishments, they don't come back. So we're trying to keep those businesses and those establishments here in town. And this is with this redevelopment project, I think that'll go far. And that is my report. Council President Venin.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to start speaking about filing a potential complaint against the Altice that you and I spoke about briefly with the BPU. A couple other municipalities have done such file a complaint, and after speaking with Mayor Michael Sarah and our borough administrator, they suggested I can either file it on behalf of myself or get a council consensus, and then we move forward as a council. So
just let me give a little information on what Council President is talking about. Some towns in South Jersey have decided that, and I agree with them, first of all, that Optimum or Altice, our cable company, has not been doing a good job with service and taking care of their residents. They are, of course, asking for a 50% discount in all their services that are charged to their residents. One of the towns was Tom's River, and do you remember the other one?
I want to say Jackson.
Okay, so some of the towns down south, what Councilman Venin is asking that maybe we join this suit. I will tell you, we will probably go nowhere. It's a for symbolism only, because I don't think they're going to give us 50% of our money back that we paid, but it doesn't hurt to try. And I'm not happy with Cablevision at all. I get a lot of calls from the residents who are not happy with Cablevision at all, so I'm okay with joining it. I'm just going to ask if you guys are okay with it, then we'll do it as a group. I'll start with Councilman Baldori.
I would prefer not to just answer without understanding a little bit more about what that entails.
All that is joining a complaint against
Can we look at
Altice.
the complaint documents before we?
We're not going to put a document together. We're just going to say we have filing a complaint with Altice or Cablevision that customer service in response to our payments is not equal to what we're putting out, something in those words. It's not going to be a list of demands of any sort or anything like that.
This is not a formal legal action.
No,
This is a complaint that's submitted to the Board of Public Utilities.
Correct. So it won't be a listing, there's no formality to it at all. It's just putting them on notice we're complaining. That's basically what we're doing.
On that condition, I will say yes. If this becomes a formal legal issue, then I'm going to say.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And we would not do that without speaking to everyone.
Okay.
Councilman Vick?
yeah.
I know where you are. Councilman Devine?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bennett? I'm sorry, Councilwoman Kent?
You got to get my name right someday.
No, you won't.
I won't.
Yes, and that was one of the, that was one of our key factors in our campaign, is that we would like to address this for the residents, because they're all complaining and they have nowhere to go. And now that we have an avenue, at least to be a sympathetic municipality to the complainant, to
Yeah,
BPU.
I
it's
can
the
tell
way to
you
go.
that
It's absolutely the way to go.
we and our administrator can address this. We've even lost our local contact that we deal with as a state level.
Right.
So really, we don't even have someone we have this woman that we've been trying to work with, but they've pulled back most of their staff, and most of it is overseas now, and there's really nobody in the country you can really talk to.
Riker.
What?
Councilwoman Riker.
Yeah, I know, I'm getting there. So that's one of the reasons. Councilwoman Riker?
Question, Mayor. You're talking about signing on a complaint, or are we talking about joining a lawsuit and expending money?
Signing on to a complaint only.
We're not allocating funds to join.
Correct.
Be a part of the law.
No funds except what the attorney charges me to write the complaint.
Okay.
There is no lawsuit.
I just couldn't hear that.
There is no lawsuit, no lawsuit.
Thank you.
Are you a good yes or no?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, so there's your answer.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
I'd like to congratulate Mrs. Lockwood on her 100th birthday, the major milestone there. Congratulations to Major on being appointed tonight to the Pompton Lakes Police. We look forward to seeing you around town, serving and protecting our community. I'd like to thank Ms. Fram for putting together the toy collection to give back to the hospital where she spent some time. And she did a good job of speaking in front of all of us. You know, when I was that young, I had trouble, you know, doing anything like that at all, public speaking. Bulb Days 2020 started last Friday. We got a little over 3,000 of the 5,000 bulbs planted. Over a dozen teams came together, various size teams, between Friday and Monday, and planted mostly along Lakeside Avenue. Thanks again to the Pompton Lakes Police for assigning a special officer. Sunday morning, we had a team planting right along the guardrail by the boathouse. Over the next couple of weeks, there are a few more teams that have about 2,000 bulbs left to plant. And lastly, I'd like to express my condolences to the families of former Councilman Rick Steele, Mayor Dunleavy, and I had a couple friends that lost their loved ones recently as well. And that's my report.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Palladori.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I would like to offer my condolences to the Steele and Dunleavy family. I want to thank all of our veterans for their service to our country. Thank you, Councilman Begg and Councilman DeLine. I also would like to wish Mrs. Lockwood a happy 100th birthday. And I want to congratulate Major Biuca and Ray Solis on their new appointments. We welcome them to the town. We had some changes in dining restrictions earlier this week. So I want to encourage and continue to encourage our residents to shop local, order out, take out if you don't feel comfortable eating out. You know, please continue to support these businesses, especially as we move into the colder weather. It's been very challenging for a lot of them, and these are the businesses that support us when we ask for fundraisers and support for our ball team. So as much as we can do, I would appreciate that. And speaking of shopping local, if I can draw your attention to the Women's Club Facebook page. Again, it's also been a challenging time for fundraising. There's really not many different avenues to pursue. And the Women's Club does give back to a lot of different organizations, both in this community and outside of this community. So they are hosting a virtual fundraiser. Any support that you can offer would be appreciated. I want to remind you that garbage pickup is once a week through the end of this month, and the first week of December, we resume our normal schedule of 2 days a week, the week of December 7th. And some positive news that we received for open space. You may remember that we had approved some improvements on the Lakeside Park. I've been notified that our equipment is due to be delivered within the next week. So hopefully we'll be breaking ground on that in the next week, and I'm very excited. If you remember, this is the playground that will be special needs. It's an all-inclusive accommodative playground. So I'm beyond excited to see us break ground on this. So I look forward to that. I'll keep you posted. And that is my report.
Well, yeah, the playground's exciting. I mean, I moved pretty quick once we said okay from the open space side, so it moved pretty quick. And I do also want to reach out to Councilman Begg and Councilman DeLine. There are local veterans here on the council, and we appreciate your efforts that you put in back when you were involved, so thank you. Councilwoman Riker.
Thank you, Mayor. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I want to start my report by publicly thanking the redevelopment folks that came before the council. As the mayor alluded, we have been meeting now for over 2 hours on various things. I hope that everyone on the council found that the information that was presented by the redevelopment team clarified and explained this project that really has been in the offing for years. It seems somewhat fitting, even though we didn't anticipate it, that the redevelopment folks came before us this evening when we're really paying tribute to Rick Steele. The mayor and I came on at a time when Rick was council president to Mayor Cole, and Rick was a tremendous mentor to me. As was mentioned, he has a background in banking and finance, and I've served on the finance committee the entire time on council. He took me under his wing. He explained the workings of the borough and the finances in addition to personnel. Rick was also really instrumental in helping get our redevelopment off the ground. There was a lot of resistance to redevelopment, During the presentation, you heard that this project that you saw was in the offing for at least 5 years, but redevelopment really has been bandied around for almost 10 years. And Rick was the one who understood the pilot in particular. Rick knew a lot of the developers, and Rick was very much a force in terms of helping get the redevelopment off the ground. He was a quiet leader, and I want to express my condolences to his entire family, because he really was a very important force in our town. Those who spoke before me have acknowledged our 2 veterans on the dais, and I want to acknowledge Veterans Day. I'm sure we're all very happy that Election Day is over. I know the final count isn't in, but I want to congratulate my fellow councilmen and councilman and councilwoman. I'm sorry, I meant to correct it. There are a couple of things I want to draw to the attention of those on the dais, and also perhaps those who are watching or seeing on the computer. In our packets, we got something from the Municipal Excess Liability Joint Insurance Fund. Shorthand, the acronym is MEL. And it's a book it's called The Power of Collaboration. We all got it. It's a risk management for local officials. It's a 2020 publication, and it is really quite informative. Could be a very good resource for you. We all got them. I encourage you at your leisure to take a few moments to go through it. In the administrator's report, and I'm not trying to steal his thunder, but he did include a copy of the Downtowner, which is a newsletter about our businesses, our local businesses. And a number of people from the dais have encouraged you to support them. Michael Corelli is doing a fabulous job trying to share news about these businesses. And if you look at the Downtowner, the newsletter that he just put out, there's even included a coupon. So those, hopefully people will read it. And it really highlights many of our businesses and our restaurants, and it's really a wonderful resource. There's 2 things that I'd like to bring to the attention. Particularly, we hear everyone on the dais talking about how hard it is for our local businesses. There's 2 programs. I have shared both of them with Liz, so as I speak about them, she can post them in the proper places and share them with people on the dais if perhaps they didn't see them or get them. One is very, very timely. It's a Passaic County grant program. And the grant program is Passaic County Business Emergency Assistance Grant Program. And it's very, very specific. It's to help small business people, sole proprietors, LLCs, LLPs, S-Corps, to help them get a grant, not to exceed $20,000, to help cover their rent expenses for September, October, November, and December. And the reason I went into a little bit of detail is because this program starts tomorrow in terms of getting your applications in. So I've sent the information to Liz so she can post it. But if it is of importance or significance to any of our business owners, perhaps this can be shared directly with Joy at the bid and others, because it seems like it's really custom made for our community. And there are different communities, different establishments that are ineligible, but the information is very, very easy to read to figure out whether you're eligible or ineligible. And the other thing I want to bring to your attention in terms of our small businesses, many of you are aware that American Express, the American Express card, has had a program called Shop Small. And Shop Small is a program where they encourage you to use your American Express card this Saturday after Thanksgiving to shop in small businesses that have the Amex logo that participate. The reason I'm bringing it up now is November 28th, that Saturday after Thanksgiving, is the Shop Small Day. But quite frankly, Amex has put together all sorts of social media tools for the small businesses. So if you are a small business person or are friendly with a small business person in town who does not participate in the Amex program or hasn't really done it in the past, their website has a tremendous number of tools to really make it easy to do it this year. And if you're not familiar with it, basically, each time someone uses an Amex, a registered Amex in your establishment, they get some money back from Amex, and it does not cost the small business owner anything to participate beyond their normal Amex participation. So those are two programs that I wanted to bring, to at least publicize. Liz, I sent Liz all the flyers and a handout on it so that it could be referenced beyond my comments. And Mayor, that's my report.
Thank you. Just to bring back to Councilman Steele, he was on our last Zoom meeting about the redevelopment project, whoever was on that meeting. So he was still involved with our downtown redevelopment. He was one of the audience members just listening and adding some advice as a citizen. So, it's one of those people that are homegrown from Pompton Lakes. They do what they have to do, but they're always involved from beginning to end, and that's the type of person he was. Councilman Devine. No, I'm sorry, Councilman Begg.
Thank you. I'd like to extend my condolences to Rick Steele and his family. He was my neighbor, a friend, and will sorely miss him. Also, I'd like to extend to Mayor Dunleavy's family my sympathies and congratulate Mrs. Lockwood on a milestone of 100 years. Mike and I attended the Marine Corps League service at the monument on Jefferson Ave today, and it was a great ceremony, and I'd like to thank the Lakeland Marine Corps League for doing the service. It's really part of our community. I received the Pompton Lakes Police Department report for the month of October 2020 from Chief Derek Clark. There were 2,481 calls for service for the month of October. There were 733 motor vehicle stops, 491 motor vehicle summonses issued, 18 motor vehicle accidents investigated, 66 ambulance calls, 6 DWI arrests, 20 alarm conditions burglary, 4 alarm conditions fire, 1 burglary, 5 thefts, 1 sexual assault, and 2 aggravated assaults. The Detective Bureau investigated 14 complaints during the month, served no subpoenas, and completed 33 background checks. I received the Pompton Lakes Riverdale First Aid Squad report from Chief Ken Arazi for the month of October 2020. There were 61 calls for service for the month of October. There were 29 calls in Pompton Lakes, 15 calls in Riverdale, 12 duty calls in Wanacue. There were 44 medical emergency calls, 12 trauma and injury calls, 2 CPR calls, no motor vehicle accident calls, no fire calls. I received the Pompton Lakes Fire Department report for the month of October 2020 from Fire Prevention Chief Al Bruno. He reports 17 calls for the month of October and a total of 196 fire calls for the year. I attended the Pompton Lakes Board of Education meeting on November 10th, 2020. Superintendent Paul Amoroso reported each of the schools in the district met or exceeded the harassment, intimidation, and bullying state standards. The board approved the Manhattan Welding to repair the boiler 1 at the Lakeside School at a cost of $5,500. The board also approved the hiring of Angela Spasaveski as the new school business administrator board secretary at a salary of $145,000 per year, effective January 4th, 2021, and that's my report.
Thank you. Councilman Devine.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to start off by giving my condolences to Rick Still's family. Back in 2010 was actually my first time on the council for basically the rest of that entire year. And Rick was the council president. He was a big mentor for young councilmen. And one of the things that he imparted on me right from the beginning was to draw that line between family, work, and the council, and especially that family always came first. And having spoken to you at the wake about how he would always make sure he got to his children's games, sports games, and everything like that. So I've always tried to keep that piece of advice in mind with my own family and doing the council and things like that, and share that with other people that as they came on the council as well. He was a huge asset to the community. Councilwoman Riker couldn't have laid it out any better how much he meant for redevelopment in Pompton Lakes. I want to extend my condolences to Bloomingdale Mayor John Dunleavy's family. I wanted to congratulate Patrolman Biakras swearing in as our newest patrolman. Again, another Pompton Lakes more or less raised and excited to be here. His interview was excellent, so I think he's going to be a great addition to our force. Just recently, I've been kind of keeping it quiet because I wasn't sure how it was going to shake out. But for the last 9 months, I've been working with Mike Corelli on updating our sustainable jersey application. We're shooting for that silver status, which you need 350 points. We're about to basically the last 2 weeks for the final certification. We've reached 265 points with about 170 to go. So we need to turn about 170 of those must revises to approved, and then the borough reach sustainable silver status. Regardless, we're going to be recertified at the bronze status, and then we'll just kind of keep going from there as best we can, especially if we fall short this year. So I did want to recognize Michael for his hard work on that work. I wanted to congratulate Council President Bennett and Councilwoman Kent on their election victories. I look forward to working with you next year again. Wanted to recognize our veterans. I know people mentioned myself and Bill, but I also wanted to make note that Chief Clark and Lieutenant Rodriguez are also veterans and important members of our community. Thank you, Elizabeth Fram, for that. That's kind of like what that's what Pompton Lakes is. It's people stepping up and doing something, and not just talking about doing something, but actually doing something for somebody else. And that was really special, and it was great to get that support from our police department. And then finally, I just want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you, Mayor.
You know what you said, people forget that we all have lives and jobs and families outside of being a council person. And, keeping your family first is very important, and Rick was a big believer in that. You put in the time, you volunteer, you do what you have to do, but you always have to keep your family first in mind. And sometimes the residents forget that we do have families and we do have lives going on outside of this. So it sometimes is hard, and Rick was a good example of that. Councilwoman Kent.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I want to congratulate Elizabeth Fram for coming in front of the council and on TV and explaining her program. I held Elizabeth when she was probably 2 or 3 weeks old, and she was a lovely little baby, and she's a lovely young lady, and she's an inspiration to all the children in the area to do that kind of a project, and I'm very proud of her. I purchased a Pompton Lakes Cancer Awareness Patch. This was from the police department. They're $5 each. Being